They found the John Deere cap 154 feet from the first body. Green fabric faded from years under the Kentucky sun, with dried blood still dark on the brim. State police had no idea that in 5 days, the man who wore it would be dead along with 12 others, their bodies scattered across 3 miles of backroad that law had never truly reached. And here's what makes this story terrifying. Not a single person was ever arrested for what happened in Hollow Creek. May 1978, Harlan County, Kentucky, a place where time moved different, where men still settled debts with handshakes or fists, and where 2 families, the Tollivers and the Hensleys, had coexisted for 3 generations through an uneasy balance as delicate as morning frost. By that spring, the frost was melting. Ray Tolliver was 34 years old, a widower raising 4 kids alone in a 2-bedroom cabin that leaked when it rained. His wife Ellen had died 5 years back, giving birth to their youngest, Bobby. Complications the county hospital couldn't handle. So Ray did what desperate men in Appalachia did. He ran moonshine, not because he was a criminal, but because survival demanded it. The mines were closing, jobs were disappearing, and that copper still hidden in the laurel thicket was the difference between his kids eating or going hungry. He made $3,200 that year, with $2,890 coming from liquor sales. He owed $175 to the bank for his truck, and the payment was due June 1st. He had $63 in cash. For 2 years, Ray had partnered with Wade Hensley Jr., running joint moonshine operations, splitting profits 60-40. But 6 months before May 1978, the partnership collapsed. Ray claimed Wade was skimming. Wade claimed Ray's product was inconsistent. They'd argued loud enough at Miller's General Store that the owner threatened to call the sheriff. Wade had said, "You keep talking, Ray, and we'll settle this mountain style." Ray had replied, "Anytime you're ready." They hadn't spoken since. But silence in the hollows doesn't mean peace. It means pressure building. On May 3rd, Ray discovered his still destroyed. Someone had smashed his copper coils with a sledgehammer, overturned his fermentation barrels, set fire to his shelter. The damage totaled over $1,800, nearly 2/3 of his annual income. 3 weeks before his truck payment was due, there were boot prints in the mud, size 11, same as Wade Jr. wore. What happened next wasn't just revenge, it was systematic erasure. The Hensleys, led by Wade Sr., the 61-year-old patriarch with 8 children and 14 grandchildren, launched an economic siege. On May 8th, Rose Miller refused to sell Ray cigarettes at her store. "Wade Sr. came by yesterday," she said, not meeting his eyes. "Said any store doing business with Tollivers is doing business against Hensley's. I got family to think about." By May 12th, Ray couldn't sell timber to the sawmill in Cumberland. The foreman told him straight, "Wade Hensley supplies me with moonshine, keeps my crew happy. Said if I do business with you, he stops supplying me and tells his cousins at other mills to do the same. I got 12 men working here, Ray. I can't afford that." Every door closed, every option disappeared. Ray Tolliver was being erased from his own county, and everyone watched it happen. Then came May 16th. Ray's 16-year-old son, Dale, stopped at Miller's store to buy a Coke. Carl and Danny Hensley were waiting outside. They beat him unconscious, kicked him until his ribs cracked and his left eye swelled shut. When they finished, Carl leaned down and said, "Tell Ray this is just the start. We're going to bury every Tolliver on this creek." That night, something inside Ray Tolliver broke clean through. Not rage. Rage is hot and momentary. What Ray felt was cold, calculated, irreversible. He called his 3 brothers, Lester, Curtis, and Junior, to his cabin. They sat around the kitchen table while his kids slept. Ray poured moonshine and said quietly, "Tomorrow night, Wade Jr. runs his liquor to Virginia. He comes back through Hollow Creek around 10, roads narrow by the old sycamore. Be dark, be quiet, and it'll be over." Curtis, the religious brother, looked at Dale's battered face and whispered, "God forgive us," then nodded. They'd crossed the line from thinking about revenge to preparing for murder. But here's the part that makes this story unforgettable and unbearably tragic. Ray Tolliver wasn't born a killer. He was made one, pressure by pressure, closed door by closed door, until violence was the only language anyone would hear. And what happened next would prove that once you cross certain lines, there's no walking back. May 18th, 9:47 p.m. Temperature 56 degrees, clear sky, waning crescent moon. Wade Hensley Jr. drove his blue Chevy north on Route 420-1, returning from Virginia with $640 in his pocket. His cousin Danny rode shotgun. In the truck bed, Carl and Marcus sat on cushions, talking about carburetors and girls and Saturday dances, normal things, living their last normal minutes. Ray Tolliver lay in the drainage ditch at mile marker 7.3, Winchester braced against the earth, crosshairs steady on approaching headlights. Behind him, Lester crouched on the ridgeline. Curtis and Jr. covered the second curve. The trap was perfect. The first shot cracked through the night at 9:47 and 23 seconds. The driver's side window exploded. Wade jerked violently. The truck swerved. The second shot followed. Then chaos. Screaming more gunshots, the truck skidding into the ditch. Danny stumbled out and fell to the pavement. Marcus and Carl jumped from the bed and ran for the trees. Ray's voice, cold and flat, check the cab. Both down. Get the ones who ran. Carl Hensley made it 70 yards before Junior's shotgun found him. Marcus hid under a deadfall, pressing himself into the dirt, and survived by not moving for 2 hours while flashlight beams swept the woods around him. 3 dead in 4 minutes. But Ray Tolliver didn't stop. The Hensleys numbered at least 15 adult men, all armed, all with blood ties to the men now dead. If Ray waited, they'd hunt him down. So at 11:04 p.m., he and his brothers attacked Wade Sr.'s house. The firefight lasted 7 minutes, bullets punching through walls, glass shattering, men screaming. When it ended, Wade Sr. lay near his window, his brother Homer near the back door, Vernon in the yard. 3 more bodies, 6 men dead in 90 minutes. And here's where the story goes from tragedy to something darker. Nobody was ever arrested. Not Ray Tolliver, not his brothers, not anyone. When Kentucky State Police arrived the next morning, they found overwhelming evidence. 23 shell casings at the ambush site, 17 at the house, ballistics matching hunting rifles. Marcus Hensley identified Ray's voice. Witnesses confirmed Ray bought ammunition the day before. The motive was crystal clear: burned still, economic siege, beaten son, coordinated revenge. Captain James Harlow led 12 state police vehicles to Ray's cabin on May 22nd, expecting resistance. Instead, Ray walked onto his porch with his hands raised, unarmed. His 3 brothers followed. No weapons, no threats, no dramatic last stand. Just 4 men who'd done what they'd done and were ready to face consequences. Was it worth it? Sheriff Stiles asked as they handcuffed Ray. Ray looked at him with exhausted certainty. They left me no choice. Took everything until violence was the only language left. My kids are safe now. The Hensleys won't touch them. Your kids are orphans, Ray. You'll spend life in prison. Better an orphan than dead. The trial lasted 7 days. The verdict took 11 hours. Guilty on 6 counts of first-degree murder. 6 consecutive life sentences for Ray Tolliver and each of his brothers. But that's not where this story ends. Because the question that haunted everyone then still haunts us now. Ray Tolliver was a murderer. That's fact. He planned 6 executions and carried them out without mercy. But Ray Tolliver was also a desperate father who'd exhausted every legal option, who'd been systematically crushed by a family with more power, who watched his children go hungry while his son got beaten, and who made a choice that seemed impossible not to make in that moment. Both things are true simultaneously. And that's the most disturbing part. What would you have done? Not what you think you'd do, sitting safe wherever you are now, but really, $63 to your name, 4 kids depending on you, every door closed, your 16-year-old's face beaten purple, and the law taking bribes from both sides doing nothing. When your options are watch your family starve or fight back, what would you have done? Ray Tolliver died in prison in 2019 at age 75. Having served 40 years. His last letter to his son Dale said, I think about that night every day. Wonder if there was another way. I still don't know if I was wrong. I protected you. But the cost, God, the cost. Was it worth it? I told the sheriff yes, I'm not sure anymore. Monsters aren't born. They're created by poverty, by systems that fail the desperate, by pride and grudges and the slow accumulation of pressure until something breaks. Ray Tolliver didn't wake up one day and decide to become a killer. He was made, one burned still, one refused transaction, one beaten child, one closed door at a time until violence was the only door left open.